Hello and welcome back on this new video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe so you can get a notification whenever I upload a new content. In this video we are going to actually go through how to extract economic data from Federal Reserve economic data database and then analyze it. So these are basically economic data actually. So if you don't know what actually Fred is about, this is the Federal Reserve Bank of the United States, and the branch that is in St. Louis, actually in Missouri, is the one that actually has most of these is the database whereby most of these data are located. So we can actually make a quick Google search here, Fred data, and then you will see what the database looks like. Fred database actually. So we can go right here, and this is it right here. You can see Fred St. Louis fed.org. So actually this is actually based off St. Louis, and you can see the description right here. So this is actually based off St. Louis. You can click on this, and so right here, this is the database. Okay, that's the database here, and you can see they have download graph and tracks of 819,000 US and international time series from 110 sources. This is huge. Okay, this is huge. You have 110 sources, reliable sources, and you have a bunch of data, right? These are economic data, time series data. You have CPI, GDP, inflation. Okay, this is consumer price index, real GDP, unemployment rate, and so on, inflation rate. There is a lot here. So this is huge, and this is what we're going to go about here. So we're going to use actually in this tutorial, the API. Okay, we're going to use the Fred API to extract the data, and then when we get the data, we can analyze the data and see what's actually looks like. This is going to be a very huge. Okay, I'm not gonna make it in a single video. It's going to be too long, and it might be boring when it's too long. So I'm going to do it in two different parts. The first part will just be how to get the API keys, make use of it, and then start extracting the first data, economic data, and analyze it. Like unemployment rate, like financial data. Like Nasdaq, like S&P 500. So the first thing we need to do, since we are using here a Python notebook, we're going to import the basic library. We're going to import pandas, speedy. We're going to import what else? I think these three libraries are already fine. And the next thing I'm going to do here, so we can run these few libraries, these are fine. So I can run these three libraries here. The next thing I'm gonna do, since we are using Fred, is to first of all pip install the Fred API. I already installed it, so this is the first thing that you may need to do, is to first of all so I'm going to create here is title here called obtaining the API. Okay, number one, obtaining the Fred API key. Okay, so this is going to be actually a title here, and after the first thing that we need to do to obtain the API keys, first of all, to go on the Fred website here, say we want to get the API key, and to do that you can just quickly run here Fred API key. Okay, so when you go on the Fred database here, you can try and get the API key. It's very simple. Okay, you just have to go and follow the process, right? You need to first of all create an account here. That's how you can get an API key. You need to first of all create your own account. Okay, when you create your own account, you can generate your API key. It's very simple. I do have an account. Okay, my account is here. Clearly you can see I have an account, and I'm logging here. I'm not going to show you my account, but that's what you basically need to do, is to go on there, create an account. When you do create an account, you get an API key, and that's the note here. Note that account cannot request an API key without logging into your Fred St. Louis account. So you need an account here. That's an example of how the API will look. This is just 1 2 3 4 5 6. It's not a real API, but this is how the API will actually look like. Okay, so when you get your API, come back here. The first thing you need to do is to pip install. Okay, is to pip install here. After pip install the Fred API, of course we are going to now column, our API. So I already did that. I already have the the API installed. I'm not gonna go through it. And the next thing you may need to do, after pip installing the API, is the call on the API. So from Fred API, we're going to launch. So I already have this code here. So Fred is already here. So now when we have our Fred, so this right here is what we are going to use actually to do any search that we may want to do. And the next thing we need to do is the key. I already have my key. Okay, I already have my Fred key here, so I do not need to do that. So we are going to use here Fred and call the Fred that we just installed. We already gave Fred import Fred, so we import Fred. I'm going to use the Fred that I just imported, which is Fred right here, and then I'm going to use my key here. Okay, Fred. So over here is API. Okay, API key. We're going to get the API key equal to. I already have my API key that I call my key, so I'm going to use my key. I'm not gonna show you my key, but I already have my key already set in my system, and I call it my key. So that's the name of my own API key, like the one I just showed right here, this key right here. I already have my key. This is not a real key, but that's how a key basically look like. So API, I already have my API key, and the name of my API key is called my key, which is what I'm using right here. So you just run this code right here. And then after running this code, the next thing you want to do here is we can actually search for something. We can search for whatever you want. We can search for, say, Tesla. Okay, so we can use actually this this actually to search for Tesla actually. So I can come here and say the thread that we just created, this chunk, that this actually vector that I have here called thread. I'm going to use it and search. Okay, and then I'm going to search. So we can search by category or by release, so it depends. I'm going to just simply search here, and I'm going to search for the term called Tesla. I can use the ticker. Okay, basically Tesla ticker is actually TSLA. So I'm going to search for Tesla here and see what's going to pop up. So we're going to search for Tesla and see what is going to come up here. So Fred.search, and let's search for Tesla. So I didn't get actually anything concrete, so let me put actually Tesla in real world here and see nothing at all. Okay, so let me use something else like S&P actually. S&P, I can say S&P 500. I can also say S&P, and then see what we get. So Tesla didn't give me something cool, so I trying to use here S&P. So when I type in the S&P, this is what I got. I have something huge here. Okay, we have this data set. We have S&P 500. We have VXV CLS. We have a bunch of stuff out here. Okay, and actually I can even look at the shape or whatever. So let me give it a vector here. I will call it S&P. Okay, I will call this vector S&P search. Let me just call it S&P, right? And then we are going to look at the shape of S&P. Okay, so let me look at S&P dot shape and see what it looks like. Actually, I want to look at the size of the data set actually. Object, yeah, sorry, no parentheses here. So it's actually 1,000 data. Again, I can create here we can look at our S&P here again and see what it looks like. So this is actually the S&P that we created here. So you clearly see we have an ID here. We have a real-time start and end data. So it starts from 2023 April 17. That's the date of today, because the date of today is a real time here, and that's the title here, S&P 500. Okay, that's the series or actually ID, but the title of it is S&P 500 with some space here. We have the observation start. It starts from 2013 down to 2023. Daily close. Okay, and that's the frequency shot here, the unit, and so on. So seasonally adjusted, and that's the detail actually, the note about S&P. So the observation for S&P 500 represent daily in the black. So you have all these detail here that you can read and see actually. And again, we can search for something else. So this is just S&P 500, right? What we can do here, with this S&P 500 actually, so we already have, the ID actually. So it gives us the ID of the various data that we have here. We have a bunch of ID, and again, the number of rows for these data is thousands of rows, and this is how much Fred gives. So it doesn't mean that the limit is 1,000. Okay, we have 15 rows here with thousands of columns, but that's just 1,000 actually that Fred allows you, to get at a time. We are going to create a series, so I'll call this S&P series. Okay, and I'm going to create here Fred. Okay, we're going to use again our Fred, and we are going to get series. Okay, Fred.get series. So I'm going to get, and we have different way of getting series. We can get series all release as a date, first release, info, latest release, vintage. There is a lot that we can do. I'm just gonna get this series here, and the series that I'm going to get is based on this series ID. And again, if you want to see the different item on the get series, these are the signatures here. This is the signature. You can use the series ID, you can use the observation start and end date, right? You can use the start and end date, but right here, and you can see it's very huge here: observation start, observation end, and so on. So these are the details here. But right now I already know the series that I'm looking for, and I can use the series ID here. Okay, series ID. Okay, and the ID that I'm going to use here is again series ID. So the ID I'm going to use here is S&P 500. Okay, that's S&P SP 500 actually, SP 500. Okay, and over here we can look at SP series. Okay, SP series that I just used here, and let's see how this looks like. Okay, SP series. So these are the series on S&P 500 starting from 2013, okay, down to 2023. The date of today, April 17, and the length is 2,608. Okay, and I believe this is the daily, because clearly you can see on the 18th, 19th, 20, 22, I mean 22, 23, 24 is the daily prices here. I think it's written somewhere down here. Real observation. Let's look at this. Yeah, this is daily close. So these are daily prices of S&P 500 from 2013 to 2023. Again, we can plot this series and see actually what the series look like. So S&P series dot plot. So I can plot this series, actually see what the series look like. Okay, so we can plot this. It's a time series data, so we can plot. This is how the series looks like when you're trying to plot it. This is very little, so I can make it bigger and give it a title. I can add up some cosmetic to it. Let me see. We can look at the fixed size here. Fixed size equal to parentheses here. Maybe 18. Okay, 18. I mean, 18 might be too big. Okay, 15 to 8. Okay, 15 of 8. And then the next thing I'm gonna do here is to give it a title. I will call it S&P. Okay, S&P 500 series. Okay, then this will be fine. Let me run this code and see. Okay, this is much bigger. Yeah, this is way better. So that's what we have here from 2013 down to 2023. That's what we have. There we have a slow growth for S&P 500 from 2013 up to 2017. Clearly you can see from 2013 up to 2017 the price was between 15 and 2,000 dollars. After 2017 it has started increasing up to ending of 2022. The price went up to 3,500. Okay, in 2022 came down here. He came completely down to below 2,500 at the very price that we have in 2016. Why? Because of the COVID-19. Obviously that's what really happened here. The price went down, and the price have resumed slowly in 2021, and they went completely, they skyrocketed from from actually mid 2022 up to mid 2020, actually up to 2022. Clearly you can see the price have skyrocketed to above 4,500, because remember, again, in the middle of the pandemic, like S&P 500, many of these stocks were doing actually well, few months after the pandemic, because everybody was home, and most of the things that people were actually doing were trading, actually, because everybody was actually enjoying the stay at home. They were having the luxury of the stay at home, and everybody was actually trying new things, and the stock market was actually booming, back in 20 I mean mid 2020, summer of 2020 up to 2022, right? And then clearly you can see in 2023, again, the prices, after 2022, the prices came down, and clearly you can see what is really happening right now. There is this wind of recession that is actually blowing all over, and clearly you can see that might be the reason why the prices came down here a little bit, not that much actually, from 4,500 down to 4,000, which is pretty much not that bad, because it didn't actually came down below the pre-pandemic level. It's still high. The price are still higher as compared to pre-pandemic level, so this is not bad. Yeah, so that's what we can actually analyze and see about S&P 500 here. We can try another ticker like Nasdaq. Okay, we can search for Nasdaq, and I will clearly do the same thing here. If I want to try Nasdaq here, I'm going to search for Nasdaq, and then we are going to plot the series. So we can try this on Nasdaq. Okay, and that will be Fred dot search. Okay, I'm going to search for Fred dot search, and I'm going to search for Nasdaq here. This is good, and let's see what this looks like. Okay, see what we got for Nasdaq here. So that's what we have for Nasdaq here. We have Nasdaq.com, Nasdaq 100, and the VX, and so on. So we have a lot here. The S&P 500 came back here again, and yeah, so this start from 1971, okay, to 2023. Nasdaq Composite Index is daily close again. It's clearly literally the same information that we have here. Okay, we have the unit short, February 1971. Okay, so we have here, and they have all these details here. NSA, okay, seasonal adjusted short, okay, latest update, NSA. Popularity, and then the notes. So that's the note that we have about, this is not seasonally adjusted, very important. And I can actually look at the series of this, which is called the ID here. The series ID is Nasdaq com. So this is Nasdaq com. I can use the same thing here, and I'll call this NSA, right? So it's called NSA. Okay, so that will be Fred again, get series. Okay, we are going to get the series of Nasdaq.com. Okay, it's called Nasdaq.com. Okay, let's get the series here, and then we are going to plot this. Okay, NSA. Let me see what it looks like. 1971 down to 2023. It was $100 in 1971. Today is like 12,123. This is crazy. So if you were to have just one single stock of Nasdaq back in 71 that was worth $100, today it will worth 12,000. This is huge. This is complete. This is huge. And again, we can do the same thing that we did here. Actually, I can simply copy this code to plot actually the Nasdaq series here. Okay, you can literally copy this code right here and change S&P series to NSA. Okay, Nasdaq. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing here and change the title here from S&P 500 series to Nasdaq series. Okay, Nasdaq series. So you can plot these and see. So that's the Nasdaq here. Clearly you can see from 1971 up to 1999, the prices were literally down, around $100. Okay, and now after the dot-com boom, in 2000, that was the boom, the dot-com boom, this Google search engine and all of that. the price skyrocketed from, you know, around $100 up to what, up to actually $5,000. Okay, you get in 2000, year 2000, this is how the price boom actually here. And then they went down after the dot-com boom. Clearly you can see in, you know, in the midst of 2000, you can clearly see that the price completely came down, you know, from $5,000 down to roughly, you know, roughly 2000, actually 2000, 2005, you know, 2000, 2000, 2500. So the price came down, you know, up to 2010, prices came down. And, you know, again in 2009, you can clearly see 2007, 2009, there was this financial crisis here that came down, that might make the prices to come down here completely. Here you can see, we, you know, the prices came down to below 2k actually. And then after 2010, the prices started to resume, you know, and then we have this, you know, increase in the prices here on Nasdaq. You know, 2015, the prices went completely up. Here in 2020, even higher. Okay, even higher actually after 2020, after the pandemic. Because the pandemic didn't actually have any impact on Nasdaq. Clearly you can see even 2020, it didn't really affected the prices of Nasdaq. So, you know, they went all the way up, you know, to 16k here, which is quite amazing. It's very impressive. So yeah, so that's actually what we can actually say about this ticker here, Nasdaq. And again, this is actually what I have for this first part. So the next part of it is going to actually be going to some economic data, that's on, like unemployment rate, unemployment in different states in the United States, all the 50 different, you know, states in the United States. We can analyze and compare the unemployment rate in all of these different states. We can also look at the unemployment claims, you know, the inflation rate. Right now we're talking about inflation and how the inflation is affecting the various states and employment in different states. See you on the next video.